Live from New York, it's the show that was on Hard Knocks last night and quarterback.
I
told you, we're your favorite show.
And the Steph Curry documentary.
Were we really?
Yeah, it wasn't great for me, buddy.
The contract extension, I agree with Graziano. Like, he's the Cowboys quarterback for the foreseeable future because he is a good quarterback. And you can be a perennial contender with him at the very least. It remains to be seen, can he win a Super Bowl? Because they do have enough. I mean, the defense is great. You got some receivers now. They've always had a good running game, the offensive line. Is he good enough? Maybe. I think you can win a Super Bowl with him. All right, so they're going to extend him. The only way he's not their quarterback long term is if they trade him for a better quarterback. All right, so barring that, he's the quarterback. So what's on the line is his legacy. How good is Dak Prescott? Is he Tony Romo, who was a really good quarterback, but probably overrated and overvalued just because he was a Cowboy?
I disagree on Romo entirely. I think he was underrated and unfairly maligned, but that's a story for 7 years ago. So
I think he was definitely a good quarterback, but I think he was overexposed, because of viewed as a superstar because he was a quarterback of the Cowboys. That's what Dak is. So if Dak this year, the NFC is wide open. As good as Philadelphia is, as good as San Francisco is, they got quarterback issues. So this is the year, and I've said it, at least the NFC title game if you're as good as you're supposed to be.
So I agree with a lot of what you said, but I also think this is a sneaky, massive story about what's going to happen with Dak and the Cowboys moving forward for this reason alone. They can't franchise tag him again. They've already done it twice, and it's in his contract. It can't be done. So why does that matter? He's got 2 years left on his deal. If he's awesome this year, he is going to get this next offseason far and away the biggest and best contract in NFL history. Because he's going to be able to be a true and clear, untaggable free agent at 31 years old at the quarterback position, or 32 years old at the point that you get there at the quarterback position. What's the quarterback who every time he has signed a contract, we've said, my God, it's fully guaranteed, and he has got all. It's Kirk Cousins. Why? Because he's untaggable. Because Washington tagged him a couple times. It's essentially impossible to tag guy a third time. Dak literally has it in his contract they can't tag him. So if he's really good this year, he is going to be able to ask for anything he wants with the threat of, I can be a true free agent a year after next. And so I think what's on the line is if they do what I think they might be able to do, which is make that NFC championship game for the first time in 27 years, if not the first Super Bowl in the same amount of time, I mean, you're looking at your first $60 million a year player in Dak Prescott. And so I think that's what's on the line here because what Dak's agent, I think it's Todd France, was fighting for, if you remember their previous negotiations, was the length of time and the no tag clause, and they got that. So that's why this is already a story with 2 years left on his deal.
Okay. I'm going to go to training camp in Dallas.
Yeah.
I had Dustman pull together several interceptions. He had 2 within the span of 10 minutes to Trayvon Diggs. Trayvon at one point, I don't think it's this one, I think it's the next one, started acting like Deion Sanders. Here he gave a souvenir to a fan. I think this is the one he starts high-stepping like Deion. He had 15 interceptions in 12 games. How many passes? 394 passes. I did some math, so take it as you will. That would equal out to around 22, 23 interceptions for the year if he played the full year. At what point do we have to worry about these training camp interceptions that they're not nothing? Are you worried about them, bro?
I wouldn't say worried, obviously, because Dak hasn't been a high interception guy his whole career.
He was last year.
Last year he was.
Watching this
no question he was last year. But you can't get too worried about these. Here's what I want to see Dak do. Obviously, in addition to cutting down on the interceptions, how about beating good teams and keeping your team from having their F game? Last year, the F game, you remember? But that was true, though.
That was a great
brand. The F game is on the quarterback.
Yes, that's a great.
Philadelphia, I think Jalen Hurts keeps them from having F games.
Yeah, 6
because he's such a leader.
Yeah.
And Dak, the last game of the regular season, they had an F game when they had a slight chance. Remember, Washington beat them 26-6. So here's what I want to see Dak beat some good teams, all right? Look at his record against teams above 500. He kills the teams below 500. Above, he's under 500, and his passer rating dips.
Okay, but that's
who you gotta
everybody.
beat.
Hold on. Hold on a second.
You got another graphic for somebody else? That's a really good quarterback?
Okay, well, so, no, I don't have another graphic. But what I am telling you is that every player in the league has better numbers against bad teams. And
78% to 47%.
Hold on a second. I was looking at the passer rating, because the passer rating is what I want to focus on for a moment. The fact that he has a 101 versus a 95, essentially, bad teams to good teams, that is not shocking at all. Wins, again, we don't have to do this for the third day in a row, are a team stat. So, yes,
but the quarterback has a lot to do with more than anyone to do with it.
Agreed on that
okay,
point.
That's what I'm saying.
I think it is only the best of the best quarterbacks that win 60% of their games against good teams. You win 60% of your games in the season, you make the playoffs.
I didn't ask for 60.
Well, 22.
Ask for above 50.
Okay, but so if he wins his first 3 against plus 500 teams, is that 500?
Okay.
I mean, it's not like he's terribly below. The interception rate thing, didn't you do one of your just delightful Instagram videos or whiteboard things about training camp interceptions?
Yeah.
And didn't it make the point that they don't matter?
No.
Sorry, what was...
How delightful could it be if you don't even remember
Okay, what was it? Explain it to me. I apologize.
It's when Patrick Mahomes throws an interception, it's not a big deal because Patrick Mahomes is great and maybe it was behind the back.
Yeah.
When Mac Jones throws an interception, it's great defense.
Yeah. And when everyone
else throws an interception,
it's
regression year.
Right.
It's coming. It's something.
But wasn't that you making fun of how people cover training camp?
No, I'm saying that's the way it really is.
That's the way it really is? Okay, then I did
Dak is throwing a lot. Every time I log on, Dak is throwing the ball to
but just real
Trayvon Diggs.
quick, to back up your point, Brew, even last year, with Dak being number 1 in the league in interceptions. For his career, from his rookie year to right now, he's bottom 6, which is really a good thing, in interception rate in the NFL.
Yeah.
He has done a really good job of taking care of the football. Last season, where he was injured early on, plus now training camp does not make me think all of a sudden he's going to be a super turnover-prone player. I just don't think.
And
he will.
also, Wilds, a lot of times in training camp, you're working on throws that you won't throw in the game. You're trying to get it to guys in windows that you wouldn't risk during the game. So
I think that's right.
some of it too.
I think that's right.
Incorrect.
Trust me.
Okay.
Trust you. I had 50. Get off Threads.
I don't know if he's throwing interceptions on Threads, but on Twitter or the X or whatever it is, he's throwing interceptions.
NFC East odds. The Eagles at number 1, depending on what type of field they're playing on. If the sod.
I mean,
you
my
gotta
God,
check in
those
with the
poor
turf.
guys. Yeah.
These lines could move. Then it's the Cowboys, who thankfully play indoors.
Yeah.
Then it's the Giants, and then it's the frisky Commanders actually going to win.
13-1. Your pick, but go ahead.
Yeah, that's why they're called worst to first.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
Do the Cowboys need to win the NFC East to prove they are for real?
No. I mean, they have to get in the playoffs. And as I said earlier, more consistency. I want to see that, playing better against the better teams. And even if you're going to lose, but don't have a complete failure, a complete flop like they did at time. Yeah, an F game. All right, so if they stop doing things like that and just get into the playoffs, then they got a shot. They are one of the better teams in the NFC without question. So they're for real. The question is, can they be consistent and can Dak step up in the biggest moments?
So I thought that I was going to agree with that. Because when we were discussing this question this morning, I was like, yeah, I mean, if the Eagles win the division, the Cowboys could still be really, really good. And then because we remember a time where wild card teams went to the Super Bowl all the time. And Brew, you think that the Cowboys, anything short of the Super Bowl, the season's a bust, a disappointment, a failure.
Super Bowl or bust.
Super Bowl, not necessarily win it, but get there. So the Packers famously with Rodgers won the Super Bowl as a wild card team. That was the 2010 season. So there have been 12 Super Bowls since then, which means 24 teams played. How many of those 24 teams didn't win their division?
Brady.
That's it.
Right.
Brady with the Bucs is the only one. I don't know if it is the new playoff format, the one bye, happenstance, whatever it is, but like in the mid-2000s, it happened a lot. We saw a lot of wild cards. The Steelers did it. The Giants did it. The Packers did in 2010. But it has happened once in the last dozen years. It's only happened 12 times total in all of NFL history, but only once in the last dozen years. So can the Cowboys win 3 consecutive road playoff games, which is what the wild card team almost always has to do? Technically, in the conference championship weekend, you could be facing another wild card team, but it's very unlikely. What it means is you're going to be on the road the entirety of the playoffs. Brady did it. But that was Tom Brady, who had already been to, at that point in his career, 10 Super Bowls, or 9 Super Bowls at that point in his career. I don't think it's realistic for the Cowboys. I do think that for the Cowboys to have the type of season that I think they can have, they have to win the division. I think they have to win the division, and that whether they're the 1 seed and get the bye or not, have at the very least the beginning of the playoffs go through Dallas, not have to be on the road at the very beginning. So I do think for them to have a great season, they have to win the division.
You know what? That's how it's going to end up.
What's that?
They're going to lose a home playoff game. That's how this is all. It's a take that's a long way away, but that's how it's going to be. Like, wow, Cowboys are rolling. Home playoff game.
That's how Dak's rookie season
game.
ended against Aaron Rodgers.
It wouldn't be surprising. It's what they do.
F game.
It's what they've done.
A.J. Brown weighed in on Jalen Hurts. Do you think Dak can jump Jalen Hurts as the best QB in the NFC?
Yes, absolutely. I'm not predicting it. I actually think Hurts will build on what he did last year. I think his passing numbers will be even better than they were last year, and that'll make him better. But is it possible? I mean, like, is it even realistic? Yeah, it's realistic. Like, Jalen Hurts has done it for 1 year. All right? Kyler Murray had a couple good years. Carson Wentz did it for 1 year. Mac Jones kind of sort of had
really.
one, but not a star year, but it was a good year for a rookie.
Yeah,
it was awfully good, and then he fell off the map. All right,
exactly.
and now he's struggling with Bailey Zappi to win his job. Okay, so I want to see Jalen Hurts do it for another year, and Dak Prescott is only, he's behind him, but it's not like a wide.
He's the second best quarterback in the conference.
And the conference doesn't have that many great quarterbacks.
Well, that's what can I ask you this?
And so, he could jump him.
So if he does.
If he wins, if I don't know if you're going to pick them to get to the Super Bowl. If they get to the Super Bowl, obviously Dak will be a huge part of that. People will say he's better than Jalen
Okay,
Hurts.
so here's my question. Let's say all that happens. Then does the NFC just have no elite quarterbacks? Because we know that Dak, even if he wins the Super Bowl, can't be elite in your eyes.
No,
so they're just the
from
whole
what he's
conference
done so
has
far,
no elite.
he's not close to elite yet.
Okay.
He's a very good quarterback.
So
got to the Super Bowl?
Just because you get to a Super Bowl and even if you win it, that means you're elite.
Typically,
But
if
there have
you
been
win
a lot.
the
There have
Super
been
Bowl,
worse quarterbacks than Dak
Yes,
Prescott
but hold
to
on.
win
Wait,
Super Bowls.
just a moment, just quickly. Typically,
Jimmy G has gotten to a Super Bowl.
I said if you win it, but the Cowboys, if they were to get there, it would not be the 2000 Ravens or the 02 Bucks model. It would be because the offense is really good. But rather than have I kind of goaded you on the elite quarterback thing. I didn't mean to. I apologize. If Dak has the ability this year, he could jump I'm going to give you some names. Some people might already have him ahead of these people, but if not, he could jump ahead of Justin Herbert. I think most people have Herbert ahead of him. Herbert, I know you don't believe him because you pray at the altar of quarterback wins.
It
is
about winning the game.
Okay, but so right now though you have Herbert ahead of Dak. I think he could absolutely go ahead of Herbert.
Sure.
He could jump ahead of Lamar. If Lamar has another bad year, it might be just because Lamar is moving backwards.
Well with these guys.
You guys might disagree. I don't think you'll disagree. You might disagree. Dak at the end of this year could be considered better than Rodgers.
Rodgers will be 40.
Right, no, but that's what I'm saying. Yeah. But my point is, at the end of this year, Dak could be pretty widely considered one of the 5 best quarterbacks in football.
Don't you think, just quickly
if he jumps Hurts, just real quick, if he jumps Hurts, he'll be considered one of the 5 best quarterbacks in football.
Okay.
Don't you think the Cowboys are just going to run the ball too much for him to make some huge statistical leap?
No,
Not
because
too
I don't think
much.
Tony Pollard can run the ball 25 times. If you remember Tony Pollard, I don't have it now, but remember when They were talking about giving him the carries,
Yeah,
and I went back to college, and it was like once in his career he had gotten more than
Yeah, he
14
didn't
touches
do
in
that
a
in
game.
college.
I think he's dynamic, but I don't think he's.
But he'll
gonna
get
be
25
31st.
touches, but that'll be runs and catches.
They'll get some.
25
receptions.
touches. I don't think
20,
he's getting.
20 to 25. I think he's going to be in between there.
That's a lot, man.
He
It's a
is
lot
their
for that guy.
bell cow. He's now the bell
They might
cow.
bring Zeke back for
I think
nothing.
they're going to.
I think they bring Zeke back for like $3 million.
I think they are.
They might.
Ronald Jones out for what, 2 games?
Ronald Jones doesn't play, man. Ronald Jones is not going to play. Ronald Jones.
He won't be. you
No,
don't think he'll play
Ronald
at all this
Jones.
year?
Ronald Jones couldn't get on the field last year.
All right.
Well, they didn't run the ball.
It's not going to happen. Okay. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.